All right, so this video is on using the distance formula. Distance formula. The formula will be given to you. The distance is the square root x2 minus x1 to the power of 2 plus y2 minus y1 to the power of 2 also. Remember, just like when we were doing the slope formula, I was having everybody write down the formula, but instead of the x's, we kind of were using circles, so then we could just plug in the numbers that we needed. Then same thing here, we plug in the number here. One thing about using formulas is to always, one, write down the formula. Second step, plug in what you know. All right, so this is just a blank one, so then you can plug in what we have. So I'm going to show you how to do this using 2 points. Let me find my 2 points that I need. So we'll use H. Point H is 2134, and then point N is 4580. So I'm going to use the distance formula to find the distance between H and N. Okay, so I'm going to find the distance between H and N. So distance equals, like I said, if you put your square minus square plus, let me make it a little bit bigger, square minus the other square. Make sure you don't forget your power of 2s. I notice that's a mistake many students make, is the power of 2, and then the subtraction sign in between. You also want to label these. Like I said, label your your points. This is the first point, so that's x1, y1. This is the second point, so that's x2, y2. So then you can just plug in everything where it belongs. The formula tells me that x2 gets plugged in first, then x1. So x2, then x1. And then the other part of the formula tells me that y2 gets plugged in, and then the y1. So that would be 80, then 34. I was telling my students, well, yeah, you could plug in all of this, but you might make an error somewhere plugging it in. So I advise that you simplify it a little bit before you start plugging things in, which means figure out, what is this 45 minus 21? So there's less stuff to have to put into the calculator. So 45 minus 21 is, we get 24. Don't forget your power of 2. And then back here, always simplify it just a little bit, so hopefully there's less error when you're working through the problem. All right. So now from here, if you want to, I would say, put your square root in there. Yes, use the parentheses. Don't forget your power of 2. And then in your parentheses, power of 2. Then press enter. I'm getting 51.88. No need to round it up. So that's my distance. I'm going to just do one more example. I will do one more example on here. And on this example, I'm going to find the distance. Let me find a point to do, because we didn't do C and D. So we're going to find the distance between C and D. And C and D are actually given to us on a coordinate plane, which means it's a graph. So let me just write down C. Point C is at -3, -5. Then point D is at 3, -3. Now this is a good example because there are some negatives. This one, everything was positive, but we will still use the same strategy. Like I said, I like to set up the full formula before I plug in anything. I set up everything, so then all I have to do is go back and plug it in. All right. So I set up my formula with just my square, so then I could plug in everything where it belongs. Second step, I know that this is my first point, so that's x1, y1. Yes, both of these are 1s because it's my first point. This is x2, y2 because both of these are 2s. It's the second point. Yes, both of these are 2s. So my formula tells me the x's get plugged in first, but it's x2 and x1. So the x2 and then the x1. Be careful here because, yes, the x1 is -3. Now my y2s, if I look up here, the y's get plugged in, but it's y2 then y1. y2 is -3, and then the y1 is -5. So now, like I said, it's best if you do a little bit of simplifying before you just plug everything in there. Hopefully that will make room for less error. So let's figure out what this is just in the parentheses. 3 minus -3. And that gives me 6. Then over here is -3 minus -5. That gives me a 2. Now, now from here, there's less stuff to put in the calculator, so let's put it in there. We got the square root, 6 to the power of 2 plus 2 to the power of 2. Hopefully you're trying it before I do so you can see what the answer is. I'm trying to give you a second if you hadn't done that yet before I press enter. And the answer I'm getting is 6.32 for the distance for that one. And that is the end of this video.